control, but I can speak my mind. I have an opinion,
but
and I
then
should
you
be able
get
to
to
speak.
wait. Do it different.
Do what differently? Speak my mind differently.
Yeah.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Blair, but you know what time it is. Talking to you guys about the Shay Johnson and the Iyanla beef. Yes, there was a major stuff that was going on between these two on the latest or the last season of Iyanla Fix My Life. Guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returning as well, you got the minerals, you got the minerals. Yes, oh yes. All right, cool. So before I start, I wanted to read a particular comment that was left on the post that we put up earlier on today, and it was by Maria Shepherd. And I think that's where we start the conversation around trying to understand what happened between Iyanla and also as well Shay Johnson. So Maria Shepherd puts, as a therapist, it's hard for me to watch her methods. We are in two different lanes, so I understand it's different. However, I still can't help but cringe when I see Iyanla being so aggressive with the hurt and traumatized people. Those who are traumatized already struggle to receive the messages because of the defenses they put up in protection. Most times, a secure attachment with a safe person needs to be forged and formed before tough love can be spoken. I love that point there. Most times, a secure attachment with a safe person needs to be forged and formed before tough love can be spoken. I just want to repeat that for you guys to understand what she's saying. This allows a person to be vulnerable because they trust that the person really has their best interest at heart. I don't agree with coming through the gate with tough love when a relationship hasn't yet been formed. This seems very old school, dismissive, and invalidating to the past wounds. This is an approach based more on ensuring surviving than thriving, i.e., hurry, get over yourself, and listen because if you don't, you may die or be enslaved, if you want to call it that. And she puts, edit. Still different issues call for different deliveries. For example, with drug addicts, you have to come from a tough love perspective because many times their life is on the line. And I think if we start the conversation there, this is really where I feel I put this question out there because I really wanted to find out what you guys were thinking. But truthfully, when I was watching it, many a times when I watch Iyanla, I cry, I break down. I start thinking about my whole entire life. Like, yo, what have she said all of this stuff. What about, I have to think about my own life. She makes me think about my own life indefinitely all the time. I cannot even pretend that isn't the truth. But what I would say is that in regards to that, is that there is parts of when she's dealing with the people and I too don't feel comfortable. And I think the key point that Maria Shepherd put here is that sometimes there's this tough love kind of behavior that happens, and unfortunately when that happens, the relationship hasn't been formed yet, so having that tough love really isn't the right response.
Moments when you don't like me.
It's okay. I don't think there's gonna be moments I don't like you.
Okay. I kind of think there might be.
When I watched the show, there were several points where in the very beginning, when Shay got there, the comment about her breast being out. Listen, you are there to help the person, not judge her dress sense. Listen, and for me, again, it just kind of just focused on the wrong thing. And again, that's going to put the person's back up against the wall. Now, hey ho.
Shay, put them things away. You see all these men around here.
I did try to. I have pins and tape right now.
Here, put this there. Like that.
I haven't done it as long as Iyanla. Let me be very frank with you. I am not a life coach. I am not, I've not got degrees in counseling or anything like that. So I'm only speaking from my own experience. But what I saw there, I was like, whoa, like sis, like you gotta chill, B. Like, how is it that you're letting this girl bring you out of pocket to the point where you're questioning her dress sense at the very beginning, right? Secondly, the argument that they actually had, again, I just felt like she just needed to diffuse it. Like, I know that Shay was going off on one, right? And what I felt like at that point, when you see that Shay's gone off on one, you just withdraw a little bit and then try to get to the why reason of why she's acting up the way she's acting up. Because all I could think was, Shay's going to be looking at this woman like she's her mum. That's all I could see. That, hey, no, Shay's looking at this woman like she's her mum again. So of course she's gonna war Iyanla because she's seen her mum 2.0. Instead of actually seeing that this is a mutual person who's gonna try and call it down the line. Now, here's my caveat to that. Shay says she will do anything to bring a healing to her family. So first of all, she didn't keep her word, and number two, Shay knew exactly what she was signing up for. You know, when you come into Iyanla, what to expect. This woman is going to give you a hard time because that's the way she operates and that's the way she does her thing. So you knew from before then this was going to be the case. And so when I see that, I'm concerned at points because I'm like, how is it that, we're treating people, and I don't want to say treating people badly, but what I want to say is like, how is it we got to a point where when Shay is talking with Iyanla, or sorry, I said blowing up at Iyanla, we are getting, the back and forth. Like when she was in the car, again,
Shay, oh, you disrespectful and you rude. Y'all ain't gonna make me look like nothing on this.
You already look like a fool.
All right, and
because
you a fool
you gave
too.
your
Your
word.
process. Your process.
You
How
came
about
to
that?
my process.
Iyanla, like, if you're the therapist, I get it. Some people just can't be helped. Let's be very frank. Even if you talk calmly or aggressively, let's be honest. But it just added more fuel to the fire when Iyanla went to the car, and then she was, and in the end, basically called, Shay, you look like a fool, like, and it's just like, yo, those things there are just gonna further exasperate the situation rather than actually help the person come to an understanding that, hey, actually, do you know what? I'm out of pocket here, right? And I'm not saying that she had to be on Shay's side. All I'm saying is that she knew she knew where Shay was coming from. She knew how Shay felt. And she knew that Shay was trying to defend herself oftentimes. So then, if that's the case, we've got to work around it. Tough love kind of thing for people like I said the same thing with Althea, is it Neffy or whatever, Shay. There's been a few women, and most of the time it's women as well, on this show who have not responded to the tough love because it reflects or maybe reminds them of somebody else who also gave them tough love. And so that was my first initial reaction. But let me just talk about some real stuff. Number one, Shay knows this is TV, so she ain't got this is TV. And regardless of you saying that you felt like, there was an interview that she did with another woman called Neffy, and she said, it's TV, they do it for ratings. Well, you knew that. Now, let's be very frank and very honest. When you came onto that show, you know why you're coming on that show. Yeah, you were coming there to obviously get some help, but also back in your mind, you knew it's a TV show. Of course. It's a TV show. Of course, you know that I'm sure they paid you some money, get your coins up as well, etc., etc. Listen, it was a two-pronged deal. You were getting your end, and they were getting their end, right? So you know that already. They're going to push some things. What was said, obviously, her and Neffy were having a conversation, and I saw that she said, obviously, Iyanla was meant to be uplifted.
You supposed to be uplifting and encouraging and giving the people.
And I think here's my issue again, maybe with Iyanla a little bit. There are some points when, for instance, Iyanla was talking to the mum, and when she was talking to the mum said about how she made Shay leave the house after she caught her smoking, and she didn't allow Shay to come back for 2 weeks. And maybe in this day and age it's crazy. Back in those days, I guess it was normal, right? You could do things like that, right? Your kid probably not going to get kidnapped or whatever, but these days you can't do them things. But then Iyanla, in the same breath, then went and said, well, my 9-year-old was acting a fool, and I sent him outside, no clothes apart from his bottoms, his panties or whatever, and he came back later on that evening, 11 o'clock, banging on the door, and I let him in. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think any of you are better. I don't think any of the responses here are better.
And I slammed the door behind him. Must have been 10, 11 o'clock. Now he's desperate, banging on the door.
A 9-year-old being let out of the house in his panties to teach him a lesson that he's been bad. And I agree we need to be disciplined. But does that make it any better than what you're describing as what she was doing? So it was almost like, well, but Iyanla, I don't think your things are any better. But I do understand what she was saying, that, the mum was showing rejection rather than discipline. But I would say the same thing is when Iyanla gave her example, I was like, that's the same thing, yo. And there's some parts in there where I just feel like when Iyanla says certain things, it's like there was an instance where she was talking to one of the boys or whatever, the older brother, Joey, and you're like, your marriage is in trouble, and he was like, we're working on it, and she said, no, but your marriage is in trouble, right? And it's like, yo, like, bro, like, come on, like, tonality is, you guys have heard me say it before, tonality is everything.
I want to go against mama.
You're not going against her. You're
But
standing
that's the
for
feeling,
you. But clear that feeling out. It's standing for you. Because you don't want to stay a broken little boy.
Everything. And delivery is everything. Okay? Now, I know, again, I want to repeat this. This is not an insult to Iyanla. This is not a discredit of Iyanla. I think I've done a video before and I've said this before. I don't discredit her work. I'm only saying that maybe this aspect of things where it's tough love, maybe for ratings of TV, or maybe she just genuinely does how she does it. I don't think it's... me personally, I don't like that aspect of it. I don't like that aspect of it, and I don't have to like the prospect. It's not me doing it, right? But I just felt like there are points and times in the conversations where, like, for instance, there will be the guy, I think the younger brother will come out and say something like he's deep in what you're saying. And he said, oh, so, it sounds like this, that. And just as he's finishing, Iyanla will cut in, Iyanla will cut in. Iyanla will cut in the conversation and take it elsewhere. And it was like, he was just deep in what you're saying. A classic example of that is at the very beginning when Iyanla was talking to Shay, right? And she said something and Shay was deep in what she was saying. Like, rah, okay, cool. She's deep in what she's saying. And instead of just letting it simmer a little bit, letting it rest a little bit, Iyanla just kind of took it and then was like, I can't remember what she said. And I was like, oh, it looked like Shay was ready to say something and confess something. And we're talking about, Iyanla talking about them creating a safe space for the family. I believe that if Iyanla is the one that's legislating all of this conversation, she also needs to be a safe space. The tough love is a representative of what her mum just gave her. Why then would we issue tough love again to her on the show? Do you see me? Yeah? At the point where she's trying to leave the show, like, you are personal enough to try and stop her from going, then you can be personal enough to give that girl a hug and say, listen to me. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but listen to me. But instead, we went with the argument. So if we're personal enough to have the argument, I think we're also personal enough to have a conversation and maybe even a hug here, right? I'm not saying Shay's innocent because I'm going to come to her because there is a lot to talk about with Shay. And I pray that if Shay gets to watch this, she will understand what I'm saying. And we need to break some stuff down, right? Okay. Shay obviously said in the interview that she didn't feel that she didn't realize certain things were going to get said, right? And again, this points out to I think some of the words that Iyanla uses, I'm always careful. Things like when saying someone is ignorant or, silly or stupid or you're a fool, any of those kind of words, I always believe that we should, I'm not a therapist, by the way. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I feel like when you use words, they carry an energy. So there's certain words we shouldn't be using on people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always say that, like, and the way that you pronounce it is also a problem. So I think Shay had a problem with the fact that there was mention of her past boyfriends, etc., etc. Here's my thing, though, with Shay. You can't dictate how the process is going to go, sis. No, let's keep it real. As much as you may disagree with Iyanla and the way she does her things, you cannot try to dictate the process. You came to her.
No, because if you're not gonna,
I asked you.
You're not gonna let.
Yeah, but you don't get to facilitate the process when and how it happens. What you get to is control this.
I didn't come to you. I didn't butt into your life. You came to me. I told you from the beginning, this is my process. And you stick with it, right? Because you said you wanted to bring healing. But at the same time, I also give that credit to an openness that at the same time, she also has the option, if she doesn't like it, to leave. But there was instances of behavior from Shay, which I feel like she needs to address ASAP Rocky. For instance, I'll give you an example. There was an example where when Shay had left and the mum and the brother called her to say, come back to the process so we can finish it off, basically. And Shay was like, hold on a minute. I'm the one that even got you there. You guys should have left with me. No, Shay. No.
Need you to finish the process. We can't finish the process without having you here.
None of y'all will be there without me. So therefore, when I was kicked out, they should have walked off.
You're gonna have.
No. See, that is egotistical, number one. Two, that's a lot of pride that you think because you brought them there, they should now leave because you decided you wanted to leave. Absolutely no. Absolutely no. No, that can't run. I'm sorry, Shay, that can't run. You understand? You brought people there to have healing, and regardless of whether it was working for you, it seems to be working for them. Let them get their healing. You know? The issue about the father also was a big thing. So I saw the interview. The issue with the father situation, I feel it was fair. I think it was fair for Iyanla to ask where the father was. I think it's very easy to say the father, gave us love and he was away, but he wasn't there 24/7.
That the three of y'all are here and your dad isn't. It is so common that when one parent leaves, the anger and resentment is directed at the parent who stays.
So it's very easy to transfer, love, and it's very easy for him to say love from his end when he's not in your life 24/7. Therefore, I could understand why Iyanla questioned about the fact that there is a transference of anger and bitterness towards the mum. I also can understand the kids also trying to defend the father because irrespective of whether the father was there or not, the mother was horrid with her attitude and behavior, and we'll address that in another video. So I can understand the kids' defense of the father and the fact that they got something from that father, which is just simple words of love you, which the mum should have been doing and she could not do, right? But I don't think it was unfair for Iyanla to question why the father wasn't there. Because at the end of the day, you called me, and thus this process, you should have been calling your father today to come in there and be on a show, So, at least, Neffy in an interview with her was saying, look, Iyanla taught her forgiveness and taught her how to open up her voice. So listen, Iyanla does great things. This is what I'm trying to say. So it's not that she doesn't do great things. It's not that she doesn't change people. She does. She does. Even me, as I'm watching, I'm changing myself, and she's not talking to me. So I know how stuff works. It's just that, remember, it's not always the result that matters. Sometimes in the result, the process can also damage certain things. And I think that's where Shay maybe felt a certain way, that the talking and the way that she's addressed, I think she really felt like she was dealing with her mum again, and it's like that wasn't a safe space for her, so she ran. It's not a safe space for me, so I ran. Some people might see it as, well, Shay couldn't handle the truth, but actually,
I want to go against mama.
You're not going against her, you're
But
standing
that's the
for
feeling,
But clear that feeling out.
I mean, is it truth or is it rude? Because sometimes we mask the truth or mask our rudeness by saying, oh, but it's true. It may be, but your deliverance is important. Your deliverance is important. The Bible says that worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. But the truth doesn't come at the expense of the love of God. Do you understand? It has to come with love. Otherwise, it's no longer really the fullness of the truth. And so it just becomes a tirade at that point. So, I can understand, again, why Shay may feel aggrieved at the Iyanla situation. Again, I'm just kind of bringing all the points of why I feel she may be aggrieved. I feel Shay's feeling at this point, right? Here's my issue with Shay. My issue with Shay here is an inflated ego.
We need you to finish the process. We can't finish the process without having you here.
None of y'all will be there without me. So therefore, when I was kicked out, they should have walked off.
You're going to have...
Let me be very for number one. Like I said, you can't be telling your parents and your brother to lead the process just because you decided you wanted to leave, yeah? Number two, the rude and disrespectfulness, yeah? You know what you're doing, yeah? At points, I believe that she can handle it as she handled it, and she does it to get a reaction out of them. It's as simple as that. And the fact that she wanted to leave simply because she was addressed at the point in time when she had been told she was rude and disrespectful, right? I think shows, again, that lack of the similar behavior as a mother. She's in denial, right? She doesn't want to be told that she's wrong because maybe that's what she felt like she's had all her life in this family. It's always been her against her mum, her brothers. That's what she's seen it as. And so this process, what she didn't want to see was a replication of that. But you're still rude and you're still disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Did you say that? She was disrespectful?
Yes.
Have you said that to her?
Yeah.
Is she rude and disrespectful?
And in the earlier scene when Iyanla tells her she's rude and disrespectful, you can see the way that she uses her whole body to say, but how am I rude though?
Rude and disrespectful.
How am I rude and disrespectful? Please tell me that.
Because very often your response to what's said is inappropriate, even though the person has said.
I just tell the truth. No, you don't. Again, the very same thing that you felt Iyanla was doing to you is the exact same thing you do to everybody else. You think you're telling them the truth, but you're just being rude. You know what I'm saying? Because the rudeness is a mask for how you feel. You're trying to cut that person down to size. You know, her apologies at the end of the show as well came with a bit of blame and a lack of accountability still. It's like, I'm sorry, but no, when you said the but, that's it, it's done. I'm sorry, I'm over that. You know, when you have to blame, no. Take accountability for your actions. Oh, I'm sorry, but everyone has to, don't talk about everybody else because everyone else has apologized already. Just state what you need to do and how you need to apologize. It's simple. Her disrespectfulness or her disagreeance is different to her mother's, all right? Her rejection of things is very combative. Her mother did the exact same thing in the very beginning of the show. Her mother rejected the claims of Iyanla, right? And Iyanla had to bring out the videotape and the evidence. But it's the way that her mother does it. It's different. It's old school. Her mother does things in an old school manner, which is, I respect my elders. So I won't come out outrightly, and give you a combative me. I might say I disagree, and I might keep saying I disagree, right? But I won't give you an aggressive disagreement. Whereas Shay is new school. She doesn't mind. I don't have to think about my elders. I will just give you, I don't like what you said. I don't agree with it. And whatever comes there, comes. If you're going to get in my way, I'll tell you, listen, get the fuck out of my way. She doesn't mind being combative, okay? Shay, again, refuses to surrender or to lose long term. She refuses to surrender or to lose to win long term. Shay is in the mindset that I must win every single argument. I must never keep quiet. I must always talk. I must always have my say, which is my next point. I must always have my say because what was happening in the past, I was muted. And now y'all think you're gonna mute me again.
Speak my mind. I have an opinion.
But then you get to wait. Do it different.
Again, why do you think the argument with her and Iyanla was her main point with Iyanla was the fact that she couldn't say her piece? So when I'm hearing that consistently, I've got to ask the question, so why is it that you're so intent on having your say? Okay, so you've experienced it. Okay, fine. Let me tell you something. They're saying their piece. I'm going to let you say your piece. But let's really address this. Where does this come from? The need to want to say something or have the last say in everything. Where does it come from? Rather than me arguing with you back and forth now to fight to stay in the process, I'm like, nah. Okay, you felt like I ambushed you. Okay, why did you feel like I ambushed you? Because I didn't get to say anything. Okay, so what? Again, back to the why. Why do you feel like you had to say something there? Let's address that. Let's go back onto that. Right? Rather than me trying to fight with you. Because Shay always wants to have the last word. Even in the apologies, she wanted to have the last word. And it's something that she's not learned. Unlike her brothers, everyone's problematic. Let's get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. But you can see that the brothers have learned that there is a time in a season. Listen, don't get it twisted. They didn't speak up and say their piece. I agree. They didn't let the mum know that, listen, how they felt at the very beginning. But one thing you realize about them is when they disagree, listen, they just keep their mouth stum. In fact, you don't even know they're disagreeing. But with Shay, she openly disregards everything. So to the naked eye, to the person, Shay is obviously the rude, disrespectful, dismissive, and the hardest person to want to be around, right? Because she openly disagrees with Vim, right? She refuses to lose. She has to say something, and that's an issue. And that's something she's going to have to work on. But her and her mother are like two akin. In the very beginning, her mum denied that she said certain things. Shay denies being disrespectful and rude when she really is disrespectful and rude, and she knows it. And her mum also knew that she said some things which are out of line. The fact that you can say and hold it in your heart that your daughter is a demon, that should let you know. And trust me, I've seen this in households. I don't want to expose anybody. I've seen this in households. Someone saying, like, even go and die. I don't care if you die. In your anger, you can say things that you even forgot that you said. How many of us have gone to our parents and said, listen, do you remember when you said this? Or remember when you did this to me? They're like, whoa, I don't remember saying that. Do you know why I don't remember? because when you did it, you were at an emotional high. You didn't do it when you didn't do it when you were sensible. It was interesting because the same, you can see this difference in terms of how they disagree when when the brothers tell the mom that Shay left the process. The way the mom got angry, she was annoyed. Why? Because her mom sees herself in Shay, but Shay exerts her energy outwardly rather than inwardly. The boys do what the mom does, which is why the mom favors the boy.
Through your daughter. She is the demonstration of the cesspool of pain that all of y'all are sitting in.
The boys react the way the mom does, which is when they're angry and frustrated, they often keep the inwardly. It's not going to come out and look mad, right? And so, but with Shay, she just combusts. And that's what her mom disagrees with. It's like, you can be disrespectful. You can be disagreeing with me. You may not even like what I've said. But when you show that outward disobedience and that outwardly combative nature, it's not pretty. And so the mom tries to nip that in the bud. And she's probably been trying to nip it in the bud from early without actually dipping the root cause of why her child's like that. And so, I feel like I can understand why Shay and Iyanla were going at it, because Iyanla's probably seeing, you're not going to run me in my house. You can run your mom, but not me. But again, that's pride. And then it's like, Shay also, I can see her point of view, which is like, listen, at the end of the day, you're not my mom, and I don't have to face my mom 2.0. You're meant to help us. More specifically, she meant herself. You're meant to help me kind of understand where I'm going from. So you actually hear this in her conversation with Nefe. You hear her saying, look, I really want to just be able to, basically she wanted Iyanla to come at her in a way that will be like, hey, this is what I'm going through, I'm suffering through it, and then present a safe space. I can be very honest, I don't think Iyanla was fully a safe space.
But you don't get to facilitate the process when and how it happens. What you get to is control.
She wasn't a full Switzerland. And the reason why is because she presented an energy that was just the same as her mother. Disappointment or loud voice, trying to dictate, trying to instruct, and rather than saying, listen, hey, okay, let's look at these feelings. What are you feeling right now? Okay, you're angry. Now your brother said that they didn't like what you did. Why is it that you feel that way? That wasn't happening. I'm not saying that. We know Iyanla is a life coach. I get that. But a life coach can have a way of tone and delivery. And I think that was missing. And so I think someone like Spirit would have been amazing, right? But even we know that when Spirit had Althea, still she couldn't save Althea, because at the end of the day, you've got to want to do the work, right? So I just felt like potentially though, someone like Spirit would have been more beneficial for Shay, because Shay was looking for therapeutic type of work, you know what I'm saying, and rather than ripping the bandage off kind of work, you know what I'm saying. And I can't hate on Iyanla and the way she does her things. It's just that for some people, for some people, it just won't work. But there's someone for everybody, you know what I mean? So for me, that's my kind of honest opinion here. I know many people might not like Shay, and don't get it twisted, I don't let her off the hook. She has got a lot of work to do. Her defense, her denial, and the way that she defends herself it comes out ugly. And so, but I will say that I do understand her point of view, that she wanted somebody who was going to be able to understand her and not be judging. And it did sound judgy. If you get in there and the first few seconds are asking you, why are your puppies out? Like, what's that got to do with anything? A therapist, if I'm a therapist, I would never, even if I'm not a therapist, if you come to me for help, I would never say to you, my first comment, why are your puppies out? It's not necessary to comment on your outer look. It's not necessary, because that's not why you came to me for. I'm not an image consultant. You understand? So yeah, guys, I don't know, guys, let us know your thoughts down below. What did you guys think of the particular show? Comment down below, let us know your thoughts, and we'll talk for more. Appreciate you guys. A lot. Stay loaded. More love.